After serving 4 decades in law enforcement, 12 of those as sheriff of Lyon County, Stuart Vanderstoep lost his re-election of the Republican ticket during the primary election in June. However, a write-in on a different ticket may help him reclaim his title in November. Hannah Eckwalt tells us more in our top story tonight from Rock Rapids.
Although the Lyon County auditor reached out to the Iowa Secretary of State to figure out the appropriate way to navigate this situation, today a hearing was held on the objection of Vanderstoep's candidacy on the general ballot. The person filing that objection was his opponent from the primary election. Following the primary election in June, 2 Libertarian ballots were cast. One left the box for Sheriff Blank, but the other wrote in Sheriff Stuart Vanderstoep. According to the county auditor, to be selected as the candidate for that party, a nominee must have 35% of votes.
Technically, the requirement for 35% was met at 100% because that one voter voted the one nomination for Stuart.
This nomination allowed the county auditor and Iowa Secretary of State to inform Vanderstoep of his ability to join the general election.
We were going to run a campaign just like we did in June, and then this past Thursday, all of a sudden we hear that there's this objection letter that came out.
Brian Hilt, who beat Vanderstoep during primaries, filed his objection as a resident and voter of Lyon County. His main argument being that one write-in vote shouldn't choose the nominee for the party.
I think the code in 4366 is clear. If it's inconclusive, which I would argue it would be if it didn't meet the standards, then you have to have a county convention.
Vanderstoep's attorney countered that the codes and legislation Hilt used to argue his case contradicted one another.
These election laws are full of inconsistencies, and to try to take one over and apply it to another set of facts, I think is pretty dangerous.
Hilt saying the danger lies in allowing Vanderstoep back on the ballot.
You need to have some number of people who show that they support somebody for them to be on the ballot, and to set a precedent where one person could write themselves in or could get one write-in vote and have no other involvement from anybody in the party, and they could then be the nominee. I think that's a dangerous precedent.
If Hilt's objection goes through, Vanderstoep says an emergency appeal would be his next move.
If the Secretary of State, who controls and runs all the elections in the state, tells us we are legal, we are on the ballot, then I think we need to get this in front of a judge.
Now, the panel of 3 didn't have a decision by the end of the hearing today, and now they're faced with a time frame on how long they have until they can give the final verdict for today's hearing. Make sure to stick with Dakota News Now for the latest information on air and online. In Rock Rapids, Hannah Eckwalt, Dakota News Now.